What's up, guys? Welcome to my first vlog or stream for 2019. And I want to start it off with the almighty question that seems to be discussed the most when it comes to dating and that I keep getting asked personally. And that is, do you think that you should live with your boyfriend, in my case, before you get married? And then usually my reaction to the question is, why wouldn't you want to live with your partner before you get married? Because I would think that getting married is like the biggest step, the most important step. So therefore, you want to make sure that you know what you're doing before you even consider that. But I wonder why that is even a question in modern days, because I guess it comes down to values. Like back in the day, I guess it was considered inappropriate for you to be just living with your partner or whatever. But I look at it as, of course, I would want to live with my partner before I marry them, because only when you live with someone will you able to figure out how they truly are. Unfortunately for me, I have never had the experience of living with any of my boyfriends for some fucking reason that I never comprehended. But it always made me feel like, okay, the longer I spend with a guy and the less that we are working toward being together, it's pretty suspicious to me. So I think that you definitely want to live with that person because you gotta know how they are with finances. Are they reliable? Do they also make you happy emotionally, mentally, physically? Are you spiritually compatible? How are your views on politics similar or different? Because trust me, that stuff matters. And it's just weird to me that people would not consider spending time with someone before you marry them. Just because you marry someone doesn't mean that everything just suddenly becomes flowers and dandelions. I would expect that before you get married to someone, you know them as best as you can. And even when you think you know them as best as you can, there is something that just comes up that you just never considered, and you realize that this person may not even be right for you. So, as opposed to getting yourself trapped in a marriage and then realizing that this person is absolutely not the right person for you, why would you not want to test the waters first? Like, why would you not want to live with them, observe them, see how you two get along living together? And if your relationship resists that, then I would imagine that that's when you can start considering the big step. But I guess the reason I may get that question a lot is because a lot of people wonder why the hell I don't live with my boyfriend, although we have been together for a long ass time. And I'm like, well, maybe because he is not like interested, or maybe that's just not what he wants, or maybe he's not sure about me. Maybe he is waiting for his financial situation to be better. I don't fucking know. He has his reasons. I don't even confront him about it because every time this conversation comes up, it does not end well for me at all for some reason. But I just know that if I cannot live with someone, there is just no way that I can consider just giving myself up to them. Like there's no way I can commit to someone who I don't know how we manifest in a personal level. I don't feel like I know my boyfriend even well enough to be doing that, which makes me wonder just why the hell are we still together? It feels like a massive waste of time if we're not even discussing what our future is like or what our plans are. But at the same time, taking that long is kind of better for me because I'm thinking, okay, how about this? Can I wait? Am I a patient person? What happens during that period of time when you are both apart? What is it that you're doing to try to make yourself in a better position to be able to commit to someone on such a personal level? See what I mean? So imagine if you start dating someone and within a few months you're starting to live together. To me, it feels like it's a little invasive because to me, it would send the message of this person is insecure, this person is not good or comfortable by themselves, especially if you're with someone whose finances are not very strong. I would be thinking, you know what, this person is looking for like a more of a roommate situation, but at the same time, they want to be intimately involved because that gives them an extra sense of security. And I'm like, no, I think you need to be able to offer to like share responsibilities. That's what I'm trying to say. So if I'm going to be in a relationship where I'm very, very, very severely, very, very obviously the main breadwinner, there is no way that I am going to trust a guy who is jobless or just doesn't provide anything at all. You know, it feels like I am there to resolve his problems. And if I am going to date someone, I am looking for stability and something that I can build on, not something that's going to set me back financially by God knows how many years. See what I mean? So I would think it's weird that you're even thinking about dating when you don't have your personal life sorted. See what I mean? So it's okay to be building and I guess struggling here and there, but to become dependent on someone else, that would be kind of weird for me. Like absolutely dependent. That would be something I'm not comfortable with, but then again, I guess there's people out there who make it work for them, but I'm just letting you know what my first impressions are and I guess you need to let a decent amount of time pass dating someone before you can even address that. I think that a minimum of 2 years of actually dating this person, hanging out with them, having good conversations with them, uh, what can I say, attending functions with them, that should give you an idea of how these people are. And then kind of let you know what kind of partner they would make on the long run. Of course, you cannot experience every sort of circumstance that there is in just 2 years, but at least if you do not immediately jump into living together, it's not as rushed. I feel like relationships die because people just get too excited. You are running off the initial impression, excitement, the, like, what can I call that? I don't want to call it the stupid honeymoon phase because I think that's ridiculous, but it's like you're always excited about something new. When you get a new car, you're excited. When you get a new apartment, you're excited. New job, you're excited. So, new relationship, you're excited. But then once the manufacturer defects start coming up, you start getting frustrated and disappointed. So, I think that you should just gradually, slowly transition into that with your partner before you just try to like claim that you found the golden person. Anyways, hopefully I made my point across and that made sense, but in case it didn't, this is not a big deal. I just thought that I would address it since it's a question that not only do I get asked a lot, but I also see it being discussed online. So I'm like, sure, let's stream about it. As a Christian man, the answer is no. And see, the thing about it is, I guess when you have religious values, that is going to get in the way. Like, when I think back to older times, people took that stuff seriously. People were devoted, people were committed to that stuff. But in the present, I don't find that, at least people my age, we ain't talking about going to church. We ain't talking about like getting to know stuff like the Bible or whatever holiness is out there. We ain't talking about that. We're worried about other things. So that on its own is a problem. I feel like we are becoming too out of touch with what the good aspects of tradition, which is there are some skills I believe that young people should just have that we're just not having. We're becoming too dependent on stuff like electricity, electronic communication, etc. So once we lose one of those, it's like we don't know how to handle our lives. We don't know what to do. So, same thing with managing our social lives. I feel like we have become disconnected with how it is that we used to interact, meet people, date before modern times. So, I guess that's the part that makes me nervous and I get worried because I'm like, okay, I feel like the group of people who could give me advice, they're aging great, but at the same time, their own knowledge is becoming obsolete these days because of how much stuff is changing at such a rapid pace. So it's not like my parents' advice is suddenly useless. It's just that for some things they just cannot help me because it's not what's common anymore. So it's a little messier than meets the eye, but anyways, I thought I would just share that. Do you believe in sex before marriage? You know what? I used to really make that a big deal. Like, I always envisioned that I would wait until I'm married. But when you think about it, satisfaction and happiness is so important in a relationship. And I don't think that it is fair for you to get committed to someone who may not even be into that stuff. And if you marry someone and you turn out to be sexually not satisfied, I think you have a right to be disappointed and annoyed and use that as a determining factor of, you know what, you are not the right person for me. Because there's a lot of people out there who like to demonize the act of sex. And I think that it can truly be a healthy and wonderful and beautiful thing. And I personally have always wanted to wait until I'm married. But when I think about it, I would like to experience it before marriage because I want to make it an important thing. I want to make it something that helps me cultivate my relationship. So I do believe that it's okay for you to get laid before you get married because, again, it's not fair for you to be stuck with someone who does not satisfy you, and you do not need to feel ashamed or miserable about that. I think the biggest mistake would be for you to be stuck with someone who does not make you feel happy, who does not satisfy you, who doesn't want to explore things with you. And there's people who say, oh, sex should be treated just for the aspect of you are ready to reproduce and have kids. No, sex does more than that. You know, it can help you get to know someone better. Intimacy is incredibly important. So, the only thing that I do believe in when it comes to that, that I still like, what is it? Try to protect as much as I can is my first experience has to be with the right person. The right person doesn't necessarily mean the man that I'll be with forever, but at least I want to, when I take the step, I want for it to be a worthy person, like a person who I'm not doing it just to get pleasure out of the moment and just experience my satisfaction being driven of chemical reactions and whatnot. It's like, no, this person, we are compatible, we get along, we have fun, we know each other well, we share intimate stuff, we have spent enough time together and shared intimate details of our lives. And why did that fall? And, you know, I want to give it importance beyond the physical aspect of it. So I hope that when my time comes, I don't regret it. My biggest fear is to regret getting the act done with a guy because I just don't want to I don't want to feel used when it comes to that. So it's very possible that whenever I get around to it, the guy is not even going to be the right guy for me, or you just never know. There are things in life that you cannot control, but I personally believe that you need to have sex before marriage. I intend to do it before marriage because I'm pretty sure that the act is going to arrive before marriage. But even if it didn't, I still, like I said earlier, I still think that it's okay for me to judge a guy. And when it comes to me deciding on whether he's right for me or not to marry, I think I have a right to figure out if he is fucking good at it, you know? Because let's face it, I don't want to be bored in my intimate life. I have been so miserable and disappointed in every single one of my relationships for so long that I have decided that I want to raise the bar in every single aspect. The mental one, the emotional one, the spiritual one, the physical one. If you do not physically satisfy me, you're no good. If we are not emotionally like compatible, if you cannot support me and I cannot support you, we're not wasting time. If mentally you are not, what can I say, when it comes to being mentally strong, there are definitions that vary because you are human, you have your emotions. Not everyone is going to process the stresses of life in the same manner, and I totally get that. But if you're going to be someone who at the most minimal of things, minimal inconveniences, minimal tragedies, you're going to be knocked down, I don't think you're the right person for me, because I know how to pick myself up quickly. I know how to go back to the thing, to the way things were before the bad incident happened, whatever it is that's hindering me. So I would like for someone to either match me at that or be better for whenever I have my challenges. And then on the spiritual aspect, just like what I just discussed about sex, I hope that I can meet a guy who can absolutely respect me when it comes to my spiritual stuff, because I don't voice it very well because I don't have the opportunity of really sharing with someone what my spiritual connection and just that aspect of me, what it's like, because again, I have never really met someone who's compatible with me in that department. So I don't even bother to bring it up because it just, we don't match. But if someone can respect me at that and be like, you know what, Zam, I get it. Nothing that you don't want to happen will not happen. That is the guy that I will value and truly like treasure. So at least for now, I like to have the experience of testing the waters with communicating what it is that I like and don't want. And based on the guy's reaction, that's how I'm determining, you know what, this is never going to work out. This is not moving forward, or this is not progressing at a steady enough pace for me. I don't feel comfortable. Things like that. So until then, I guess I'm just going to stay low on the matter. And when it comes to marriage, I do want to get married, but sometimes I don't even find it appealing because it's really just a a way for the government to be intruding in your business, and I'm not even sure that that's worth it like that. But at the same time, I like to show my partner that I can commit, and what better way to show commitment than sharing stuff like that on a legal level, like say you whatever it means to get married, you know, like the so-called, when it comes to religiously the commandments, and when it comes to legally, you know, do not fuck up because it can be a pretty expensive process, that type of thing, just to give you some version. I intend to create a stream about that, so that's why I don't want to just discuss it here and then have nothing to talk about then and sound repetitive. But yeah, you guys, that's pretty much it on my end. I thought that I would share that. It's probably a crazy and messy answer. I just need to find myself a good partner, a good, decent, high quality relationship for me to be even worried about this type of thing, you know? So I would like to say that, whoa, everything is working out for me and we're heading in the right direction and I feel totally comfortable, but it's fucking not. So I'm not even hiding it. I never hide this stuff. Like, stuff just sucks, and sometimes I feel like it depends on what the guy's focus is, and if your guy doesn't have the priorities straight, then I don't think anything is going to work out. So that's why I'm just chill about stuff, you know. I used to worry about this, like, oh my god, I need a guy. My life is like, I need romance and whatnot. And look, romance is cool and it's awesome and it's fun and it boosts my self esteem and all that stuff. But now that I am starting to shift my focus, it's like, why do I dwell so much on a human? what a human can do for me? Why can I not just shift my focus on other things that can leave me satisfied and not necessarily lonely? Like, I feel like there was a time in my life when I was just too excited, looking forward too much to a healthy, functioning relationship that I'm like, yeah, that's all I need in my life to be happy. And I still like to say that that's true. But now that I'm older and I know what life as an adult is, it's like that type of romance, I guess it's motivating, but in reality, it's probably never going to happen that way because your partner is going to have their shit that they're going through and you're going to have your shit that you're going through, and that may get under your partner's skin. It's like it's very difficult to come across that one human that's going to be absolutely it. Like, but then again, it's not like I'm putting myself out there to be finding the right person for me, the guy that just works for me. But you know, for anyone out there who feels miserable and you're in a relationship or you're not in a relationship, I guess my advice for you would be focus on something that can make you a better, like, a better partner, I guess. Anything that brings you down, that makes you be moody and stressed out to where it affects how you manifest within your relationship or in a future relationship, I would say take care of that before you get involved with someone, and that way you'll be more satisfied. I wish I could be one of those people who can be alone, but I just fucking hate being alone. I was incredibly miserable and alone when I was a teen and a child, and I'm just tired of that, of being alone like that. So I just want to be with someone who's fulfilling. Like, be there for me, be there with me, and everything should be fine. You know, I'm not a difficult girl to be with, but I guess I don't know. I just haven't found the right guy yet. But anyways, I'm not tripping. Had to chime in while I got time. Yes, partners should live together before marriage, but that has to be a 1 to 2 year plus relationship. I'm glad that you mentioned that because I happened to throw the number two. I said 2 years is what you should spend with a person before you consider taking that step, which is exactly what I did when we hit the 2 year mark. I was like, you know what? This is this has potential. You know, we're moving in the right direction. Hopefully, let's talk about it. And for some reason, that conversation did not go well for me. So that should have been it. But I'm like, let me give the guy the benefit of the doubt. What if he's intimidated? Maybe I have to guide him because not everyone is designed to deal with relationships. Not everyone visualizes relationships as this wonderful thing. Some people are legitimately concerned, they're legitimately scared of giving in, being vulnerable, trusting someone, sharing your personal space, personal information, personal everything, allowing someone else to intrude your private life. It is a very difficult, scary process. So, all right, I said to myself, well, let me give the guy more time. But when I have been donating so much time and we're not progressing at all, it's like, okay, the bullshit needs to end. Do you have any intention of getting serious am I just there? Because if I'm just there, I would rather try to give someone else a chance and see if something can work. But I don't like to have that attitude because I'm someone who, if I had a challenge personally, I would like for my boyfriend to be like, you know what? Whatever it is that's hindering you, we can work on it together. Let me be there for you. Let me support you. Let me help you get to the stage that will help us be a strong couple. Basically, I would like for someone to display patience toward me as opposed to just giving up because I'm a broken product and you're not interested in repairing me. When your car breaks down, do you immediately buy a new one? Probably not unless you're spoiled and you can afford it. But what I'm trying to say is that it's nice to take something that you have invested in, repair it, as opposed to just completely getting rid of it. To me, I give that value. I'm not sure if it's the right thing. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe that's part of the problem with why I'm not happy. But at least I can say I tried. And in the future, if I have a problem with another guy, I can be like, I have had the experience as opposed to being intimidated and having a foot out the door. I'm going to stay here and try to make things work. It's not always right, but I feel like I have a sense of when to draw the line. In case you guys were wondering what I'm trying to say there. I would suggest living with someone before marrying them. People act differently at home than when they are in public. Oh my god, that is so freaking true because of course at home you're in your space, you're the one who has jurisdiction, you're the one who's boss and you rule and whatnot. But but yeah, you guys ever notice how for some reason when you're out, let it be at your job or you are at a family function or something, it's like everyone tries to be in their best behavior. And I'm like, motherfucker, that is not how you treat me when we are alone. Like, like for instance, did you guys ever have parents that when you are alone in the house, it's like they're really strict and they're always bossying you around? But for some reason, when there's a guest, they have the greatest politeness ever. It's like they never shout at you. They always say please and thank you. They are soft spoken, unnaturally soft spoken. And it's like they treat you so sweet and nice. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why can you not be like that the whole time? Why does it take someone being here for you to show off? That that you have class and style, like that hypocrisy that always messed me up. Like it happened with every single guardian figure that I had in my life. I'm like, that you're stricter and just uglier sounding than that toward me. Why are you trying to be so soft spoken and sweet? And if it's all about discipline, then be consistent. Keep disciplining me whenever there's a guest over. You don't have to portray this image of this is a perfect house. We don't yell around here, and my children are, very well behaved and whatnot. No, show things for how they really are. So I guess that when it comes to me, you'll either like me or hate me because what you see is exactly what you get. I'm never trying to hide anything. Not even when I'm in a professional setting am I unnatural or abnormal about anything. So I just hate that. Like just calm down and be consistent. Be consistent. Because it's shocking that you present yourself in one way and then we see another part of your personality. And to me, that's just weird. There's no way I can trust someone who they're just different every 5 minutes or every day or, give me consistency. It's just weird. Partners should develop together. I agree. I'm a 21-year-old virgin that's only interested in having sex with the right one. I have had girlfriends before and don't want to get married, but I think sex with the right woman creates true intimacy. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying earlier. Because I I have had, my number of boyfriends, like at least three serious ones, but I never did it. I still have not done it, and I'm just hoping that I find the right guy or that I have found the right guy and then we just sort of transition into that naturally. I don't even know. But have I always been curious and wanted to do the deed? Of course, because I know it's a healthy thing to do. It's an amazing thing. I can imagine. Like when people tell stories, I can imagine it. And, but I also do not want to be influenced by, say, culture or so called romance because that tends to portray life in a very inaccurate way. And I'm like, no, when you come back from work after an 8-hour shift, there is just some stuff that you just ain't in the mood for. And, some of it may be joking around, some of it may be even touch sometimes can be something that you're against. It's like after a shift, I either want for someone to cuddle me to sleep or to death, or I just want for no one to touch me. So it really depends. So that's why I say it's important for you to live with your partner, because whatever is happening in their lives, at some point it's going to get to them. So can you handle their mood swings, those fluctuations? So, but anyways, guys, I thought that I would just ramble about this and share it with you because I think it's interesting. Um, and then yeah, I just don't know. I guess when the time arrives and that my life evolves or any significant event happens, I'll be sure to share with you guys and let you know how it's going, if I'm regretting it, if I'm loving it, if it's going better, if you know what it is, because I feel like these days people tend to be really reserved when it comes to that. And you don't have to get graphic or give very personal details. I think having the conversation is important and suffices a lot of the time. But when you treat it like it's something that's absolutely off limits, I think that especially for younger people, you are not teaching them. Like it's like open the conversation so that someone who's struggling with their self-confidence can become confident about it. There are questions that I had as a teen that I wish that I could have asked back then, and now that I'm an adult and I'm finding out about some stuff, I'm like, fuck you, school, for just choosing the most useless stuff to teach me about. But you never talk to me about, say, finances, or how to budget if you're living with someone, how to split things, stuff like that. It's like, what the hell did I do for those 13 years? You talk about relationships. Make sure that your boyfriend or girlfriend is not abusive. You can consent or you cannot consent. Okay, that's good, but fucking dive deeper into what a relationship is composed of. There's the sexual aspect, there's the marital aspect, there's the courting, the dating, you don't need to be like, this is how you pick up a guy or something, like nothing like that, but teach about the psychology of being in the dating game. Like, if an individual becomes defensive and yells at you and does not respect you nor listen to you, that is a person who is fucking emotionally abusive. Do not tolerate that. If someone is consistently trying to push you to do things that you're not into, that's also something that needs to be taken care of and looked into. But yeah, the more we avoid the conversation, the worse that the problem becomes. And then that's how younger generations keep apparently getting worse. Those are people who need direction. We are the older folks. We need to be showing them the way and giving them advice and whatnot, but we're avoiding it for some reason. It's our responsibility to take care of the younger ones. So that's just stuff that I wish someone would have done for me. The older folks in my life, I wish that they would have just advised me on certain things, and it's all right. I mean, talk about it. The reason I exist is because two people got together. So you need to advise me on how to keep the cycle going, but in a healthier way. Because I know that my arrival to this world was in no way perfect, but you know, if you just sort of bury that under the rug because it's painful for you, look, I know that it's a terrible experience. I'm sorry, but protect me from experiencing that bullshit. You're you can be saving many lives there. But anyways, that's just me dreaming of utopia. Hi Zemri, happy new year, happy new year. It may help. Is it even the right century to marry at all? You know what? Yeah, sometimes I think, guys, don't get married. It's just not worth it. Who needs marriage? But at the same time, I think that the institution of marriage has its, like, it has its advice and good ideas and whatnot. But in modern days, first of all, people ain't even sure how to make ends meet. how are you supposed to be committing to something lifelong like that, especially if you start having kids? That stuff is important. Those are important questions to ask, and you need to have a plan. So I think that marriage really should be put off until you have your personal life sorted individually, not just, now that I'm with this girl or now that I'm with this guy, my life is so much better. Like, I have a few extra bucks in the bank and whatnot. No, that is your situation is just getting better because you are sharing your burdens, you're sharing your bills, but you're not really cultivating anything just yet. Don't get a false sense of this relationship is going to last because we are together and we have extra money and whatnot. No, no, no. That's just no, no. So so yeah, just make sure that if you get with someone, it's not out of the heat of the moment. Just have some sense. Know what you're doing. Don't get yourself into hot water just because it felt right or something. Think about things like, do we need to move for me to find a job? How are we going to pay for that? Unfortunately, you need to treat relationships as a business. Marriage is a business. Stuff is going to cost money. And if you don't have it, that'll break anybody. So, anyways. Anyways, that's just what I think, guys. I'm just gonna ramble on. What marriage ever works out these days? Come on. I know, right? It's a shame that things are this way now. I feel like people back then used to know how to make things work. First of all, they had better skills. They understood their environment better. They did not have to question stuff like their food source. And they actually had skill as to how to take care for a home. Like by age 20, everyone had their own house or something. But yeah, what do we have? The younger generation, what do we have? We're struggling to make ends meet. That's horrible. Talking couples like that end up on ID Discovery. Oh yeah, yeah. Investigation Discovery. Yeah. So there was this couple, and they were living in a big house, white picket fences. Everything seemed perfect until one day, boom! So and so disappeared. No traces. This is a person who had a lot of friends. They got along, and all of a sudden, their spouse just decided to get rid of them. Like, yeah, there goes love. Especially when someone keeps altering your life insurance policy and they keep making that number go up, you should ask some questions. You should definitely keep track of that. Some of the cases that I have heard about, it's usually like that. They wanted to collect some money and then they ended up marrying someone else. Like, what kind of vile, fucked up person are you? You do not belong in the public. So, you know, I know several marriages that work. More of the younger generations need to reach out to them for guidance. Yeah, tell me about it. And then, now that you mentioned that, before I go, because unfortunately I gotta wrap it up, guys. But there are some people who are supporting this one statistic that's talking about, younger people are getting married more and they're actually remaining married. Or, well, not necessarily getting married more, but there are more divorced people from the older generation than the new generation. And I mentioned this in a stream a long time ago, but the first question I asked was, first of all, older people probably have their children who have left. They're either in college or they are independent now. So you do not need to put up the facade of your marriage. It's like, okay, honey, the child is gone. That's why we were staying together for their sake. And then all of a sudden, your children are wondering, why the hell are my parents divorcing? It seemed like everything was all right. They have been together this whole time. They were together for you to avoid giving you these thoughts and the pain of your parents splitting up. That did not mean stability at all. They were waiting for you to leave the house so that they could finally break it off and, quit. But they kept having their own relationships and dating on the side. But they were just trying to protect you from that. And on top of that, Divorce back in their day, like their parents probably, they would have discouraged them to pursue that. So now in modern days, divorce is like this popular thing that everyone just does. It's popular and cool to get divorced. If something doesn't work out, you just get rid of your partner. And I guess the young generation is opting for remaining married no matter what, because fucking getting a divorce costs money. You need a lawyer, you need to go to court, you need to lose days of your job. Like, you're going to lose wages because you have to be absent and go to the hearings and all that. Do you think that doesn't cost money? Of course, people are going to try to stay married, even if they're miserable with each other. So before I just do that of just jumping into a marriage with a guy who is no good for me, hell yeah, I want to live with him and know how the hell he is, who he is, what he is, because I don't want to mess myself up, especially financially. It costs a lot of patience, effort, dedication, energy, strength, mental dedication to get up at whatever time it is that you need to get up to make the few bucks that you do to sustain your life. Of course, I don't want to ruin the little bit of progress that I have made. Hell yeah, I'm going to overprotect that. I'm going to protect that as if I were a cat flipped on my belly and I am furious. So, but yeah, you guys, I thought I would throw that out there and just rant about it, because it's people just read statistics and they take it like it's the word of God. No, question that shit. Think critically about it. It's like, oh, it comes from Forbes or it comes from Harvard, therefore this is unquestionable. No, question the hell out of it. Because those people usually are not thinking very critically about it. They're just presenting the info, but there is a whole lot more where that came from. So I'm just saying, I'm not fooled. I'm stubborn, but I know how to think. Every marriage couple, should work towards business endeavors. You don't need to get married to raise a functional adult, as controversial as that statement may seem. No controversies here. Why get a payday loan when your spouse can provide a check every month? Exactly. And some people are like, okay, let me trap this person by having a child, and that way it's like the child gets very little and I get the most out of the money. You have to be a filthy human being for that to be your mentality. But whatever. I don't have kids, and I would rather just wait until the right time before I get involved in even considering that. But anyways, guys, I just hope that everyone out there, just best of luck for everybody, because it's the wild west out there when it comes to relationships. When you don't have guidance, that's exactly what it feels like. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you soon.